Well, here we are, folks. It's the first time in a while we've done some Scotch doubles. We've got a 9-ball Scotch doubles tournament, the regular Monday 9-ball, and there's a few teams in. Let's have a quick look. The bracket should be going up any second. In fact, it may well have just gone up. No, it hasn't yet. We've got, let's just clear that to have a look. We've got one team unconfirmed, and that's Mr. Banks and Dog Meat. But we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams in, and looking at the layout of the teams, by far the strongest team is Wink at Me and Bedhead. Now they're going to be giving away handicaps to everybody that play, quite heavy handicaps as well, and it'll be Moneyball handicapping, I believe. I think it is anyway. Race to 7 in the winner's side, race to 5 in the one loss side, and a final to 7. And we should be about to go live any time. And as far as I know, everything's working. I've actually got a new background removal software program, which is VCam, which is also a program that is available with XSplit Gamecaster and XSplit Broadcaster, and it seems to work pretty good. It works a lot better than that Tri-Def Smart Cam that I used to have. So we'll wait and see what happens, and we'll see what the matches are, and we'll go and have a look. Just a quick reminder that the virtual Pool 4 World Straight Ball Championships is now down to the last 3 players. Unfortunately, I missed the Frankel Baker Maker match. I missed the start of it. I came in and saw the end of it, and it was actually a comfortable win for Frankel. I thought it'd be a much closer match, but unfortunately I was at my dinner at the time, and then there was no match up in the schedule, and then I came in and saw the end of it. But it was an easy, comfortable win for Frankel. So now Frankel is trying to arrange his match with Acero on the one loss side final to see who's going to go through to play semi-pro in the final. So the brackets are up. Let's have a look at them, and we'll see. We've got Wit, and is that, who the hell's that? Is it CR Dubrovnik, who are paired up? Potman and Hazard are paired up. They're playing in the first match. In fact, that's the only match that's on in the first round. The other teams have got a bye. Romario and Z Carioca are going to play Black Jagged and Preacher, and Wink at Me and Bedhead have got a bye, so they're waiting to play the winner of Wit and CR Dubrovnik, I think that's his name, and Potman and Hazard. So that'll be the match we'll go in and watch to start with. Let's have a look. Right, so Team 1, who are Wit and CR Dubrovnik, they are getting the 8-ball as their money ball. Potman has just broke off, and well, hopefully we'll see something decent. Right, just a quick reminder for anybody who happens to stumble across this. Scotch doubles is 2 teams of 2 playing one another, and each player takes a shot in turn. So you play a shot, your partner plays a shot, and so on and so forth. So the whole idea is to get your partner good on the next ball. And C.R. Dubrovnik, if he's got an angle, can run off that left side rail and come back over the right side. I think he's hit that a bit too hard and collided with the 4, so no shot on for Witt, although he could look to play a safety. It's not a good bank because the 4's right on the rail, and it makes it difficult to judge where that 4 ball is going to go. That's still reasonably safe. It's still close to the rail. Now, is Popman going to try and do something silly, or is he going to try and keep distance between that cue ball and the 4 ball? Not an awful lot of places to try and hide, though. That's the problem. And, well, I don't know what he tried there, but he's left a thin cut here. Now this cue ball might run into that 4 and that 5 and 6. No, he's gone the other side of it, and I think he's just held up there. Let's have a quick look. Yep, Witt can still cut that 5 ball. Now he's probably going to run into the 7 here, which might do him a favour. It might just hold that cue ball from running away. Nope, he had a much more angle on it than I thought, so that's not bad. Yes, very nice. Oh dear, well, there's a mistake, and Hazard and Popman. Now remember, Team 1 are the ones who have got the 8 ball as the extra money ball, and they've blew their chance there. Now it all depends on Popman getting his pace right here. Well, this VCam software, the background removal tool, there's a wee bit of flicker on it, but it is 100 times better than TriDef SmartCam as a background removal. If you look at me, when I move my head, the background stays there. It doesn't go into all blobby gaps like it did before. It actually works pretty good. Right, so now Hazard should dig into the cue ball here. He wants to try and just stun up the table rather than letting the cue ball run, because that's a simpler shot. Well, he's played the even simpler shot. He's prepared to leave his partner at distance here. Well, at least the chat's working on Twitch. I know it's coming through. I don't know if anybody's watching on YouTube, but I can see your chat, Bedhead. It's working fine. So Hazard and Popman have run out the first rack from that mistake, and a dry break. So just a reminder again as well, the fact that I'm off for the next couple of weeks, I should be able to get the remaining matches in the oh yes, I can see that. Yeah, now who the hell is Tertiary Adjunct, and where the hell did you think up that name? What was I saying? Yes, I should get the matches, the remaining 2 matches in the World Straight Pool Championships. Also a reminder that the World Straight Pool Championships are running in Shooter's Pool at the moment. I haven't looked in to see it. I think there's a match streaming live on Facebook at the moment. I think it's who the hell is it? It's one of the guys that plays VP4. He's playing a match. That just shows you I've never watched an episode of Star Trek Voyager. I'm still watching old episodes of the original Star Trek. Well, that's a toughie for Witt. He'd be far better just looking to keep distance between the cue ball and the 1. Try and tuck it down the bottom here, which is what he's done. That's the right shot. Well, he hasn't quite hidden it, but he's left distance. Once again, there's a chance here to keep a distance from that yellow, but well, he's actually got away with that there, but he hit that yellow a lot thinner, I think, than he actually wanted to. And can Popman kick this yellow in? Well, this one ball anyway. And it looks fairly straightforward enough to get the edge of it. No, he's gone too thick there. He's gone too thick. He should have hit the rail further up. Well, that's nowhere. So once again, CR Dubrovnik has a chance of a bank on the 2. It's not a set bank. It's up above the first diamond, so he's just looking to hide the cue ball again. That could be very nice if it tucks in behind the 6. That's an excellent shot. And that's got Hazard and Popman in all sorts of trouble. I don't even think Hazard can get the angle off that side rail. I mean, the other... Well, he's made a good effort at it, but very tough snooker. But the question is can Witt and Dubrovnik actually get to the 8 ball? The 8 ball's in the middle of the table, so there's nothing blocking it. And straight away, Witt is looking to try and combo the 8. And that might be their one and only chance. And you can always tell if a team's got confidence enough to try and run the table. And there was no evidence of that there. The balls, there's not a problem in the table. It's just a case of having enough skill in the team to be able to manoeuvre that cue ball around the balls. And Popman's overcut the 2. And he's just overhit that slightly. Now Witt can just... I think he needs to be careful here. There's more angle on this 3 ball than he thinks. He just needs to be careful with the pace. And the only problem with that is the cue ball's close to the rail, so Dubrovnik can't do a lot with the cue ball. He can go forward, and if he's going to do that, he's going to try and get the cue ball. Well, that's worked out actually pretty good. The 9 ball's done him a favour. So it's now a must that these guys run out here. They're already 1 rack down. And again, this is a little tester on controlling the cue ball. Good evening, Mark. I think that's... Well, he's run into the 6. Sorry, the 8. And it's sitting there as a good bank. It's on that 3rd diamond. That's a dead set bank, that 8 ball. Eight ball goes straight in. And of course, that was the money ball. So we're now back all square. Into rack number 3. And Dubrovnik breaks off. And the break is dry, but it's safe. And the 4 ball is a good stopper for that 1 ball, so you can actually tuck the cue ball up in the left hand corner if he wants. Just if it ran into the 9 there, it would have been a good shot. Well, the 5 ball's doing the trick. It's a good shot now. And again, the 9 ball is maybe in the way. I don't know whether it's in the way of the angle to actually get to this 1 ball off the side rail. And he's going to try the little Massey shot around the 5. And he didn't get enough of it. So ball in hand to Potman. And if you look at where the 1 ball is, well, nothing has been adjusted on, let me have a look, hang on a sec. Let me have a look in the setup. I'll be back in a second. Right, is anybody else getting volume problems? Because my volume in Gamecaster is fine. It's not been adjusted since any other streams I've done. So, Mark, I would check your Windows volume in the bottom right hand corner of your taskbar and check that the volume is up in it. Because it might be that slid down. The volume should be fine. Any other guys watching on Twitch or YouTube, have you got any problems with the volume? Right. Good evening, Dizzle. Well, other guys are saying the volume's fine, Mark, so just tab out and look at your volume level down in the bottom right hand corner of your taskbar and make sure the Windows volume is up, and also look at the slider and the volume on the stream. And if, for example, you're watching on YouTube, go and watch it on Twitch. Go to my Twitch channel. Just go to Twitch and type in 9ball.com and you'll find it, and see if the volume's any different there. But there's no adjustments been made on my end to change the volume level. And if all the other guys are happy with the volume, then it might be your end that's that needs adjusting. Right, so we are in the 3rd rack, and once again a reminder that the first team in that bracket there is Witt and Dubrovnik, and they're getting the 8 ball, so the extra money ball is still on the table. That, I think, is maybe finished a bit straight. The other thing, Mark, another reminder as well, if you right click your little volume symbol on the taskbar, you can actually go into the settings and look at what the volume levels are for your browser. I mean, I use Firefox, and you can change the volume levels for different things that are running, and you need to make sure all the sliders are up, especially on your browser one. It might have slid down or whatever. Well, that's a good cut in the 8 ball, and Potman has landed very nicely for his partner on the 9. The other thing, Mark, I forgot to say, have you tried if you've tried that and it's still the same, try increasing the volume in your hearing aids. Right, so we're into rack number 4, and it's another dry break. But look at this table is perfect. I mean, the volume on Twitch is fine as well. Well, that's good to know. I'll get myself comfortable. Oh, that's ugly. Right over the 6 ball. danger of scratching here if he's going to try and... Well, in fact, the bank isn't on in the 3, so 4 ball was in the way. I've got a quick drink. Eight ball hanging over the right middle pocket, so the obvious thing with that is it's always a danger ball. And Potman was calling out for Hazard to try and leave that cue ball low on the 4 so that he could just run the 4 onto the 8. I don't know whether Hazard is on quite the same wavelength as Potman, but I think that was the general idea there. And now the problem is they don't have a ball to knock onto the 8. So a bit of a cock up there. And Dubrovnik has nudged the 8 away from the middle pocket. The 4 ball, I think that is an extremely fine cut to try and cut that into the middle. And of course it won't go past the 5, so again a danger of scratching here. No, he's okay. Now Hazard and Potman playing against the handicap. They've got a 2-1 lead and they've got an excellent opportunity to increase that lead if Potman could get this cue ball moving. Got a big distance to travel to get back up for that 6. And he's got to be deadly accurate, and that's a very good shot. Nice pace and a nice angle left on the 6. And Hazard has got a whole table to get that cue ball into to give his partner a shot in the 7. Now, if Potman's got a slight angle in the 7, I don't know whether he can. Let's have a look. No, he can't. What I was thinking there is it might be worth risking nudging into the 9, and you'd still be on the 8, but just to make the 9 a wee bit more open. Now here's the crucial shot. Getting across the table. Again, a whole table to get the cue ball into to leave his partner a fairly straightforward 9 ball. I know what I'd be doing. I'd be going forward and around the corner just to come down the table. Just give him the longer shot on it. But that'll do it. Same result. And an easy 9 ball down the rail. So this for 3-1. What was I thinking on there? Well, I suppose Potman was I think hinting to Hazard to leave the combo in the 8, but that was chiefly just to get rid of the extra money ball, because of course the money ball there is Witt and Dubrovnik's money ball. So Twitch seems better. It sounds as if it's your browser. What browser do you use, Mark? Do you use Firefox or do you use what do you call it? The Windows one? Chrome. I don't know. I don't use Chrome, so I don't know. But if you're not sure, get Simon to look at your volume settings when you've got your browser open to make sure that the volume levels in Chrome are actually running full, because that could be just the issue. I've tried Chrome, but I just don't like the layout of it. I'm much more familiar with Firefox. I've used it for years. So this has now become a very important rack trailing 3-1, and just 2 balls need to be potted here. Well, the cue ball's a bit further across the table to make it comfortable, but still expect Witt to cut this down the rail, get them back within 1. And so we've now got a match on, especially if Dubrovnik can get a ball in the break. Well, it's dry again. Now, once again, when you're playing the push out, you've got to just use your imagination and play with a bit of common sense, because if he plays down this bottom half of the table, he's going to leave himself or his partner in trouble, because it's very easy just to nudge that 1 ball away and lock them up behind the 2. And now Hazard has got a problem to deal with. Once again, I don't think he can get the angle past the 2 off the right side rail. He can easily kick it off this bottom rail, but if he was going to do that, he might have to put a bit of inside English on it to straighten the cue ball. Let's see whether he can get that angle past the 3. Yeah, that needed a wee bit of inside English to just straighten up the cue ball. Instead of the cue ball going that way, which is what he did, if you play it with a bit of inside English, the cue ball hits the rail, but it straightens up. And that's the type of things you need to be able to read. But that's an instinctive thing. When you've been playing the game for years, instinct tells you that the angle's not there and you have to make the angle. And looking at it from where I'm sitting, it didn't look that the angle was good to get on it. Yeah. Now that, how did Hazard get the plaster in his hand? I was thinking it was a masturbation injury that he had. He's just working it too hard, ripping the head off it. That's maybe what the problem was. Right, so Witt and Dubrovnik, the chasing team, behind by 1 rack. And of course, they've got the handicap, and the money ball is sitting there. Oh, good evening. Welcome to the stream. Twitch and YouTube are all working fine. All the chats coming up on the screen. My VCam software's working beautifully. Well pleased with it. I think I just need to adjust the contrast a wee bit in the camera. I'll worry about that some other time. Oh, this is going to end up dead, I think, is it? Let's have a wee look at that one. Oh, that is bad. Now, can he play the billiard onto that 9? That's what he's tried. Oh, unlucky. An excellent effort. It was a good effort, that, to try and billiard the 9 in. Well, Witt and Dubrovnik now are going to have to work and make use of that handicap. It's now 4-2, and Potman breaking in rack number 7. Now, any late comers to the stream, as of today, I'm now off for the next fortnight. So the remaining 2 matches in the World Straight Pool Championship that VP4 is running at the moment. The next match to be played is the Acero Dizzle match which is going to be a bit of a problem for the two of them to arrange because of the time zone difference. There's about at least an 8-hour time zone difference between the UK and Japan. Right now in Tokyo, what time is it here? 7:30. It's probably about 4:30 in the morning in Tokyo. I'm guessing it'll be round about that. So the difficulty is finding agreeable time, but as long as I know what the time the match is going to be, I'll be there. I'll be able to get it. And as I will hopefully also get the final. Now that 3 I think cuts past the 5. And the cue ball might find a gap, and it has found a gap, which is not exactly ideal because Dubrovnik's got no shot. That gap was just big enough for that cue ball to run through there. And if that slows up a bit, that'll come in handy. That was a good shot. So now this is a kick and hope here from Portman. I'd be kicking from the left-hand side because that way you've got a good chance of kicking the 5 along the rail into the pocket. You might get lucky. Now, let's see. The 8 ball is in the open. There's nothing stopping it. The problem is maybe getting good on that 6. Now, it can come off the rail and just go up there. Just about there, I'll give him a shot on the 6. And then if he nudges into the 9, he should be holding his partner for the next ball, which would be the 7. So this cue ball doesn't need to travel a lot. Let's see if that's pretty good. That's ideal. Now if he plays the right shot here, Dubrovnik, he can just stun onto that 9, just nudge it, or the 8 will do. Oh dear, now it's gone a bit pear-shaped. This is tough and very easy to put unwanted spin on that cue ball and just send it offline. This is not an easy 7 ball, especially when the cue ball's running down the right hand side of the table. There's not much you can do. And I think he was actually trying to do a lot more than he possibly should have done there. I would have just concentrated on potting the ball and getting the cue ball somewhere. But anyway, Hazard and Portman have got a chance to stretch their lead. Now this is one which is in a bit of a dilemma, because if you just pot this and stun it, you're going to run into the 9 and then hope that you nudge the 9 towards the right hand pocket. Yeah, I think Portman was playing that. I didn't look at his cue stick there. He was possibly playing that with a lot of inside English. You try and come up the left hand side and he's blew it, and it's a gift. That's what you don't want to do, blow it in the 8 ball and just give your opponents an easy 8 to win the rack. So it's back to within 1. And Witt going to break off in rack number 8. Let's have a quick look at that bracket again. Now wink at me and Bedhead. They're waiting on the winner of this match, so whoever wins this match is going to have to get their potting boots on, and if they're going to actually get to their money balls. Now I would imagine that they're going to get a hefty handicap. The question is whether they can get a shot. There's Wink at Me and Bedhead are the strong favourites. Look at where the 8 ball is, up over the top right hand corner pocket. Oh, have you arranged the match? Oh well, that's excellent. I'll be all set for that tomorrow night. A little billiard off the 4 onto the 8, and all of a sudden we're back all square. I'll definitely be there for that tomorrow. Finally a ball has gone in on the break, but unfortunately Witt's got no shot. We're just looking for the push out. Well, I think I would like to move that 8 ball myself if that was my money ball, and that's a clever shot, because the 8 ball is Dubrovnik and Witt's money ball, and it's hanging right over the pocket. And Hazard, well, you've got to weigh up the pros and cons. If I was him, I'd deliberately pot the 8 and leave it up to the other guys to try and run the table, but I'd be potting the 8 and sacrificing ball in hand here, because that 8 ball sitting there is just asking to be brushed in. And the 8 ball's now respotted, and that's the right shot in my opinion, because you're only asking for trouble to leave that 8 ball dangling over the edge of the pocket. And looking at the lay of the balls, these balls aren't ideal, especially if trying to manoeuvre the cue ball in to get that 5 ball, for example. It's not a great position, especially now. Let's have a look at this. Well, you've just got to dig into this cue ball a wee bit. If he just runs through, has he found a gap? Oh, I don't think he's got the gap for any potting angle. But the other problem is he's not got a bank either, so I'd be looking to just hide that cue ball, bank the 5 over behind the 6 onto the side rail. Oh, he's hit that too hard, unless this 8 ball does him a favour. Well, it has done. Now this pot man going to dig out the jump stick. It's a big distance to jump. Oh, somebody's gone. Dubrovnik's internet's gone. That's the only thing I never checked. Let's have a look. Well, we've got Potman from England, we've got Witt from Wales, and Hazard from England as well. I presume it's England. And Dubrovnik has decided to rejoin. And Dubrovnik is from Croatia. Well, Potman should get his shot. I think that's all to do with the delay from when Dubrovnik left the room. The clock shot expired, but it won't be showing that on their end, I don't think. It doesn't matter anyway. Well, it's an easy safety if Hazard just wants to kill the cue ball and try and just lock it behind a 9. The only danger here is he might bank the 6 by mistake. Needs to be careful. Well, that's not the best of shots, because if anybody's good at jumping, that 6 ball's going in. That needed to go by that middle pocket. And Dubrovnik, well, he got the jump part of it okay, he didn't get the connection on the 6, so it's ball in hand to Potman and Hazard. And an excellent chance to take the lead. The difficult shot is going to be from the 7 to the 8 ball, right in the middle of the table. And Potman doesn't want to leave his partner dead straight on this 7. He needs to leave him some sort of an angle to work with, or it's no good to him. And there's a slight angle there, and it's a nice little soft draw you want here. You've got to be confident enough to play the little soft draw and watch you don't scratch the middle pocket. Well, that little stun will do. That's fine. So this is their opponent's money ball going, the 8 ball, and a stun off the bottom rail and back out for the 9 should be the choice of shot here, because he's got the angle to do that. Well, he looks as if he's playing this with top. No, he's digging down. Well, he's decided to draw, and he's got the pace right, and that's plumb straight into the corner, I think, more or less. So, from... Am I right in thinking that who was leading 4-2? Was it Witt and Dubrovnik that was up 4-2? Well, it's 5-4 now to Hazard and Potman. I can't remember. And it's another dry break. I think we've seen one ball in the break that I can remember of. That's the thing I've been struggling. I mean, I haven't played a lot of 9-ball, but the 9-ball I've been playing recently has been absolutely atrocious. I can't get a ball in the break, and my concentration's straight out the window. I mean, that's probably the worst I've played 9-ball for a long time, even though I don't play it much. I just don't get the time. So inconsistent, it's unbelievable. Right, what have we got here? Well, the 4 and the 6 are tied up, so, but there's nothing nice about that 4 and 6 ball, the way they're sitting. 5 in the rail, 8 ball, sorry, 7 ball in the right rail, so the table's needing a lot of work. Witt managed to escape the snooker, but scratched. So now Potman has a chance to deal with that 4 ball. Now, what's he going to do? He's going to play the 3-9 combo. Well, if he's going to play the 3-9 combo and misses it, he doesn't want to split the 4 and 6. He wants to leave them where they are. But he's got the combo. And they're now on the hill, Hazard and Potman. And there's the result came in. And Romario and Z Carioca have won by 7 racks to 3 against Black Jagged and Preacher. And it's a double elimination tournament, so Black Jagged and Preacher will move over to the 1 loss side, and I think we've got, well, how many balls that time? We've got 3 in the break, and also, well, 4 in the break if you include the cue ball, so it's ball in hand to Dubrovnik, and look at where the 8 ball is, and look at where the 1 is, so if he doesn't get this combo here, they may well pay the price, but in it goes, and that's a very quick rack. So it's still odds on Hazard and Potman are the favourites. There's still that 1 rack deficit, but anything can happen. And once again, it's back to the old dry break situation. Well, the 9 ball is up there in the right hand corner pocket. Nice thin edge in the 1. Good safety. And not easy to hit because that 8 ball is in the way. Well, he made a good effort at it. Maybe needed a wee bit of right hand spin there, I don't know. Now, you've got to be careful where this 1 ball goes. This has to be gentle. Well, he could kill it stone dead and leave his partner a narrowish cut into the right middle, but look at where the 3 ball is. He's going to have no chance of getting his partner up for the 3. But he might do with that angle. That angle is actually not bad. But Potman's going to have to put a wee bit of pace in this to get this cue ball moving. He might finish up in that far corner there, up here. Looking at this angle. Well, I don't know about his ad, but I'd much prefer my partner trying to get the cue ball up the table rather than leaving something like that for me. This is not easy. And that nudge on the 8, well, that's doing nothing because Potman can't pot the 5. I don't think. Can he cut it? Oh, well, I think he can cut it. Because he would have scratched in off the 5 if he tried to hit that long. But I think the cut's on. He needs to watch the scratch in the top pocket though. He needs to dig into this cue ball. Get away from that top pocket. And he's done that. Where's the cue ball going? He scratched the other way. Oh dear. Did everything to avoid the scratch in the top pocket, and the cue ball spun back off the rail into the bottom. So, well, we're going hill, folks. We're going all the way. There's no way that they can mess this up. The 8 ball, sorry, the 7 ball is the extra money ball. Well, Wit's looking into a blind pocket here. He needs to keep his wits about him, but not spend too much time looking at it and looking for problems. Just get down and hit it. So this to take us to a final rack decider. Oh dear. Well, I bet his sphincter tightened there. What am I thinking about? It's the bloody 8 ball, it's the extra money ball. What am I talking about? Right, I've already made my first mistake. And there's the second one there. Well, that 8 ball is too tight to go, but there's a possible billiard, a very thin skim. Yeah, that's true. Right, well, I'm way ahead of myself here. I'm forgetting that the 8 ball's the money ball. Yeah, I get excited and get carried away. Well, this is the second chance now. I don't like the angle here. If that angle is a scratch angle on that 8 ball, if he digs into it to punch it in. I think he's just running it through. Aye, that's okay. So we are going hill. So Dubrovnik has passed the break to Wit. So it's up to Wit to get something in the hole here. And nothing doing. And the 1 ball is on. 2 ball over the bottom right hand corner. 3 out in the middle. 4 past the 6. So once that 1 ball goes, the 5 ball's wide open. And there's a good strong chance to run the table here. And that's far too much juice in that. Look at the area of the table that he had to work with there. He had all of that area to get that cue ball into. And he's put far too much into that, and the cue ball's gone nowhere. I mean, that's a big mistake. Huge area for the cue ball to sit to have a shot in that too. Well, ball's now in the other court. That 3 ball's got too much angle to hold good for the 4. The potting angle's going to take the cue ball away to the left, so... Well, that's still an inviting bank, the 4. But the cue ball is going to run around the table, and he needs to get lucky. Well, in goes the bank. Now, I think that 8 ball is a very good guide for a thin cut in a 5. You've got to go for it. He's going to run around into the 9 maybe here. And that, once again, might do them a favour for the 6 ball. Oh, he's way, way short of the cut. And that angle that they have there, that's... Well, that bank has to be made because the bank is going past the middle pocket. He needs to aim it to a wee bit maybe towards that diamond to make the bank. And that's well played. And that's, well, it's not perfect, but it's a lot better than probably Hazard maybe was thinking. So 2 balls here, well 3 balls to take them through to the next round. And that pace is a lot better to come off the rail. And Potman, a little stun onto the rail and anywhere up there is going to give his partner a shot at 8. So he's looking around at things here for no particular reason. The shot is obvious. You stun it in, cue ball runs up and comes out. That's all you need to do. Well, he's running. Oh well, he's managed to hold it for the middle. That'll do. We'll accept that one. So this for the match. And Hazard and Potman. Sorry, I'm confused again, folks. I'm forgetting his team too. That's 2 mistakes. Oh, right. So we've got a result. Potman and Hazard are through to round 2. Now the bad news is they're now going to play Wink at Me and Bedhead. That's the bad news. And the room is up. Let's have a look and see where the bracket is. We've got well, that result's still to update. And Romario and Z Carioca are sitting in the semi-final, if you want to call it that. So we're going to go in and watch Bedhead and Wink at Me. And Potman and Hazard, biggest problem they're going to have is getting a shot. But I'm guessing here that Potman and Hazard are going to have like possibly 6 and out, something like that. So it's going to be a hefty handicap in their favour. The question is if we can get the use of it. And if they do get a chance, generally all they're maybe asking is to pot a couple of balls, maybe 2-3 balls to get to a money ball. You can double click the room to enter. Yeah, I know you can. And I can enter for the bracket as well when it works. I don't know whether it is the wee things up in the bracket. Let's have a look. I see, if you look at the bracket, the little eye thing to enter a room isn't shown in the brackets anymore. It's not there. unless it updates and refreshes. Anyway, looking at the handicap, it's 7 and out that Potman and Hazard are getting, and that's a good favourable handicap. The bad news straight away is Potman scratched, so it's now going to be 1-0 to Wink at Me and Bedhead. I'm going to stick my neck on the line here. These balls are sitting perfect, and for these two guys with the ratings that they've got and control of the cue ball, this rack is over. That's the problem that Hazard and Potman have got. He was bad enough making a good break, but then scratching in the break, giving ball in hand to these two guys, that's just handing it a plate. It's going to take an almighty cock up by either of the two of them to lose this rack. And the only sort of pressure that Wink at Me and Bedhead have got is when it gets down to the money balls, if they make a mistake there, because then of course Hazard and Potman only have to pot a ball to win. Well, I mean, I haven't actually paid any attention to that little eye thing, you know, the I haven't noticed if it's been there or not been there. I've just noticed tonight, and looking at it, yeah, there's no evidence of it there at all. The brackets have updated and it hasn't appeared. Maybe that's what he's done. Maybe he's dropped the idea. What the hell happened there? I've missed that there. What the hell happened? Well, I stuck my neck in the line, I gave the first rack to Wink at Me and Bedhead, and I put the curse of the commentator on them. What the hell happened for them to mess up that? Must have missed the 6 ball. Well, there's a shock. It's 1-0 to Hazard and Potman. Hazard breaks off in rack number 2. And there's the danger ball there in the bottom right hand corner. The 7 ball very adjacent to that corner pocket. He rattled the 5. Oh, there you go. That's a good shot. Nicely on the 2. And a little angle there just to stun off that top rail. He could run through and get around the corner and still come out into the middle of the table, but Hazard needs to watch his pace. And now Potman. Again, this is all about pace, because he's just trying to drop behind the 4. All he wants to do is drop the cue ball somewhere there to leave a decent shot in the 4. Because the angle's bringing the cue ball down this way, so anywhere here, and it's just about judging the pace. And, well, that wasn't in the plan. And now Hazard has got a tough 4 ball cut. Is he going to try and cut it in the middle or cut it long? Well, he's tried to cut it long and it's gone safe. And that's the little bonuses you need. Potman Hazard have got the advantage. Wink at Me has got an easy enough kick in the 4, but how lucky is he going to get to keep this safe? Well, he's just playing it gentle. And that's the right shot, because he's not done a lot, but I think they'll find himself in deep trouble here in a second or two. This cue ball should be nailed to the 8. Bedhead The old kick and hope again on this 4. He might get lucky and kick this in. That middle diamond in the bottom rail's a good guide for the angle to that top left hand corner pocket. Well, he'll be happy with that. Catch the edge of the 4 ball and it just cut it to the end rail. Once again though, that 4 ball's off the end rail and it's a very good bank, the 4 ball. Either into the bottom left hand corner pocket as we look, or back up into that top left, but it's a good bank. Got to go for it. But needs to watch what the cue ball's doing, because look at where the 5 is. And off the 9. Oh no, so the error's been made, or the miss has happened, and wink at me in bed. Well, I'm not going to say anything here, because goodness knows what's going to happen. Can't go dead straight, and he's okay. Got a nice little angle to draw off the 5, back down here for the 7, and probably just draw somewhere between that first and second diamond. And again, well, that's the worst possible outcome. He's dead straight. Now if he tries to draw this with bottom right in English, the problem there is he has to make the potting angle. When he draws back with the bottom right, the cue ball's going that way. How's his luck? Well, I don't think you can ask for much better than that. It's close to the 8, and it's a nasty little cutback, but that's about as good as he could do. Same problem here, judging the pace to try and hold for the 9. Well done. So the rack has been stolen by Bedhead and Wink at Me, and we're back on par. But it's a dry break again. No shot for Potman. It needs a gentle feather on the edge of that 1. But it's going to run into the 5 and 3 if he's going to try that. But he's not got a lot of options here. Is he trying to just come around? Well, he's going for the jump. Needs to watch the clock. They're into their extension, or their extension is gone. That might not be a bad outcome. Let's have a look at what it's like from there. Well, that's not going to get potted. And I don't think it's quite easy to just push the 1 past the 4 and leave the snooker, because the cue ball just wants to go that way. Yeah, it was never, see, that was never ever going to be a snooker in judging the pace with that angle. The cue ball was always going to squirt past the 4. So it's an easy starter for Hazard. Well, that's the one thing about Virtual Pool 4 compared to Shooter's Pool. The Shooter's Pool cues are the prices that they should be in here. Much cheaper. So they are much, much cheaper. Well, the 3-9 combo. Nowhere near it. Has he got lucky? Well, in a way, sort of, but there's a long jump shot here for Bedhead if he wants to risk it. Well, any of you guys who maybe came late to the stream and didn't see the chat earlier on, Dizzle has just mentioned that he's managed to arrange his match with Acero in the one-loss side final in the VP4 World Straight Pool Championship, and that match is a race to 100, and it's been set for tomorrow night at 7:30 GMT, which would be 2:30 East Coast time and 11:30 Pacific time, and I'll be here to get it catalogued and saved on YouTube. Wink at me, misses a kick in the 3. I must admit, I arrived late to that match that Dizzle was playing with Baker Maker, and I thought it'd have been a much closer match. In the end, it looked a comfortable result for Dizzle, or Franco, whatever you want to call yourself. So, Potman, now there's a gap behind that 7 ball. I don't know whether the gap is good enough with the angle it has in the 4 to try and come back around and get out onto this 5. The potting angle looks as if he's going to run into something here. He might find a gap between the 9 and the 7. Oh, he's unlucky. Well, that's maybe not unlucky. That kiss in the 7 has finished perfect for the 5. Need to judge the angle, get the cue ball running, and get your partner down for the 6. And that will do it. A little bounce is required. Nothing but dead straight. That's okay. But he's going to have to get the juice into it again. There's enough angle there, but he needs to get a lot of action in the cue ball to get it running. Watch the middle pocket. Avoid the block in the 9. Oh dear. I think that was about as much as he could get into that cue ball to get it moving, and even that was still unlucky just to finish behind the 9. Well, Hazard needs to get extremely lucky here, because it's odds on that if he doesn't get this safe, they're going to be trailing 2-1. Where's the cue ball going? And it's set up now for Bedhead and Wink at Me to take the lead. But it still can go wrong if he doesn't get a good shot on this 8 here. And the cue ball close to the rail. This can go wrong. The cue ball can go behind the 9, as I say. When you go behind the 9, it can be awkward finding a pocket. Well, it's the pot's on. Bit of a thinner cut than is comfortable. And it just crept in. So Bedhead and Wink at Me are in the lead by 2 racks to 1. They have the break. It's winner breaks in these tournaments. Oh well. There's a danger set up there straight away. That 2-7, 2-8 combo in the bottom left there. Keep your eye on that. I don't know what Potman's looking at here. Well, there's plenty of room to get the 1 past the 7. Was he trying to line up a 1-7 combo? That was a bit ambitious. To me, I'd be focusing totally on potting that 1 ball past the 7, because you've then got a good chance of trying to... if you can't play the combo in the 2-8, you could certainly play a billiard in the 2-8 if you got the cue ball good. Now, we know the 2 ball isn't going, so it's going to be the 2-8 for Wink at Me. And then there's still problems here. If you look where the 3 ball is, and then you look at where the 4 is, tucked behind the 5 here in the bottom end of the table. So it's not a perfect layout here to run the table. And it's now gone pear-shaped. Well, I think Bedhead will be able to jump the 5. Well, looks as if he's going to go for the kick. He's going to try and catch the edge of that and nudge it into the middle. Well, that's what he tried. And he's got a bonus. Got the bonus. And Hazard, well, my best advice to Hazard here is don't have a blast at this too, because the 4 and 5 are awkward. And the worst thing he'll do here is nudge the 2 or batter something and split those balls and open it up, make it easier for... That's the safest shot. Banking it from there is the safest way to avoid nudging the 4 and 5. And that is actually not a bad outcome. That is not bad. I mean, okay, Wink at Me can have a cut at the 2, but there's no way he's getting on the 3. So Hazard should be well pleased with the result there. I don't know whether my webcam's sitting in the right place here. Two ball off the rail. It still looks a reasonable bank. It might be a bit tight to squeeze it in. No, he's just went for the safety. And, well, that's pretty good. I think the edge of that 3's blocking off the path to the 2. And I think the longer this rack goes on, the more important it's going to be for Hazard and Potman to try and make sure that they're the ones that come out on top to stay in the match. But whoever's going to win this has still got their work cut out. 3 ball up in that top rail. It's not a difficult shot if you can get down far enough to cut it, but it's not going to be easy to get a shot in this 4 ball. And Hazard, maybe just a tad strong. Let's have a look. Well, no doubt that Potman can cut that in. And if he maybe plays it with a wee bit of right English, he might be able to come down and hit something here. Just a wee feather of right English. That might be all he needs. Well, he's got the cut and he's missed the connection, and now his partner's in trouble. In fact, I don't even think he played that way in English, so it was clear that he didn't need any. Very difficult to judge the angle that's coming off the rail. And well, the miss has given ball in hand now. And straight away, Bedhead and Wink at Me are now strong favourites to win the rack. Well, it looks as if he's going forward off the side rail and out. With the 7 balls of danger, and Wink at Me's made a complete arse of that shot. That's with ball in hand, remember, and that's turned into a shambles, that one. And it's given Potman, and whatever chance it is, it's still a chance. And this would be a big bonus if they could pinch this. Well, that needed to nudge the 7, and that's put Hazard under a lot of stress to get this 5 and get the cue ball up the table. Yeah, oh, it's just got in. Well, there's 2 options here for Potman. He goes all out to bank this ball down into this bottom right hand corner pocket, or even the left, looking at it. Or the other one is he could try and play safe behind the 7 and the 9. He could try and tuck the cue ball away, but if you don't get it tight to any of those balls, these guys are going to bank it. And the 6 ball's gone in. And now how good's Hazard going to be to get this cut in the 7? Because it's 7 and out, remember. So this is the money ball to square the match up. And that was well taken. They simply had to get that from that crazy mistake by Wink at Me. Well, I think it was Wink at Me. I've forgotten already who it was that done it, but with ball in hand, that was a complete cock up. But Potman and Hazard still had their work to do to get out. And it's keeping them in the match. We've now got the 5-9 tied up on the right hand rail. 3 ball nailed to the rail. Now let's have a wee look here at this 5-9. Well, you could actually play the combo on that 5-9, but you could only play it really from here to actually cut that hard enough to try and get the 9 to go down the rail. You're not making a combo from this distance. If you are, you're trying to cut the 5 that way, and it's really awkward at distance. Where's the cue ball? Oh dear. Well, we're going to find out. The problem straight away is, with ball in hand, Bedhead's got no shot. 3 doesn't go past the 7. It doesn't go past the 5 and 9. So what the hell does he do? Well, that's probably a rare occasion in 9 ball that you can come to the table with ball in hand and, you know, actually not have a shot other than trying to keep it safe, and he's played it well. And now Hazard, and well, where's the angle to hit that 3? Up there, side rail, and down. I don't even think that angle's there looking at it. You can go up and down and between the 4 and 8. There's no way he's doing it from that angle. So up and down the table. Well, that's good if it gets to it. No, it didn't. There was no reaction off the rail at all there, so it just straightened up. Well, like I say, as long as the 5 and 9 are sat there, you've got to get good on it to try and create something. He's going for the 3 fouls, are we? Well, that's too heavy. Oh no. 3 balls landed behind the 8. I think he was trying to tuck the cue ball in behind the 5 and 9 there, though. The cue balls escaped a bit, but they got lucky at the other end. Oh, where's the 8 ball going? Well, there's a bonus. And all of a sudden, it's 3-2 to Hazard and Potman. Well, that's a little bit of help and luck that you need. Five ball in the break. No shot in the one. Or is there? Well, you can see enough of the one. Now, what do you do? Do you try and keep distance on it and try and get back down the table? Oh, he's banked to one. Well, look at the lay of the balls here. I mean, these, you couldn't ask for a better layout. And remember, Hazard and Potman are only trying to get to the 7 ball. So the issue is just judging the pace in the 3 here so that you don't run too far and leave Hazard a shot in the 4. Well, that's okay. Plenty of room for Potman to draw that ball up the table rather than leaving it a big distance. Well, he's got the cue ball up the table a wee bit, so it makes it a lot more comfortable. But it's going to be 4-2 to Hazard and Potman. And now Wink at Me and Bedhead have got their work cut out. But that rack that Wink at Me and Bedhead blew when they missed the 5, that's the one that they 100% should have won. And maybe the match would have had a different perspective from that rack that went astray. It was really a bad mistake to miss the run out. But that's what can happen, especially when you're playing against the money ball handicap, and it puts the pressure on the top guys to perform. If they start missing balls, then they're asking for trouble, and that's a good safety. Oh, the old body clock started already, 25 past 8, and the brain's shutting down. The kick's been missed by Hazard. Well, ball in hand this time. What can they do? Well, it's going to be the 1-9 combo for a start. No messing about. Get a quick rack. So we're back to within 1. Now, what went down there? 6 ball has gone. Shot in the 1. Easy 2 down the rail. 3 across into the right middle. 4 into this bottom right hand corner. Dare I say it, we should be all square after this, but the only problem now is there's a bit more angle in this 2 than Bedhead would have really liked to stay good on the 3. And that's okay, that's very nice. Just a little soft drop into the middle. Or a little kill shot like that. Either or it will do. Once again, that cue ball has travelled a bit more for comfort here. It needs to keep running. And it should be home and dry. And we should have a tied ball game in a minute or two. Oh dear, well that's another bad mistake, this time from Bedhead. And this is a gift and a plate here for Potman and his ad. From being 4-2 up, it looked all of a sudden it was going to be 4-all. And now that gift has given Hazard and Potman the 2-rack lead again. So now Bedhead and Wink at Me, well, if they don't know they've got a job in a hand here, then they should do now. They need to get their act in gear here. There's been some 2 or 3 sloppy misses and you pay the price. Now that's a result through from the one loss side. Black Jagged and Preacher have gone out to Witt and Dubrovnik by 5 racks to 3. Well, let's see what I've got here. Well, 3 ball goes past the 9, no problem. The only problem is the angle in the 2. That's the problem. He's trying to play this a lot inside just to hold it, and that's a pretty good effort. And now if Potman can judge the pace and just brush off the 9, I think he should be able to just brush across. But it needs to be played gentle. He needs to cut out the juice here. But the shot's on to roll across the 4 into the middle. And he should, if he plays it softly enough, have an angle to run down for the 5. And that's that. Well, the idea was right, and it just didn't run right for him. That's unlucky. And now Hazard has got a real belter of a shot here to avoid the scratch, get the cut, and now he needs to get lucky. And they've got lucky. Now Bedhead may well try and tuck this cue ball along the rail, or is he going for the cut? Well, it's a risky shot to take, especially when you're given 7 and out. He's got what looks like a reasonable safety shot here, trying to tuck the cue ball, but he's actually checked it off the rail and held it up. And things are going from bad to worse here. He didn't let it run, it actually checked on the rail and stopped. And it should have been another 6 inches along the rail there behind the 6 ball. And so it's another chance for Potman and Bedhead, but look at where the 7 is. And the 7 isn't going anywhere there. But look at the... I think it's too much of an angle. I was looking to see if that 7 and 9 were a combo. It actually could possibly be made as a combo. Well, he's nudged the 7, and that has actually worked out perfect if Potman can actually pot the 6, because the 7's now exposed and it's there for the taking. There's nothing to do with the cue ball. All you do is focus and pot in the 6. The cue ball, if you've got the pace, is going over to the left side of the table. And the shot is on. So this, to go to the hill. And Hazard just needs to get it in. And he's missed it. And that could be a crucial miss Because I don't know whether he was thinking of playing for the 8 ball there. He didn't need to play for the 8 ball. He only had to pot the 7. And, well, that might be a strange turning point in the match. And I think Hazard did cock it up there. I think he thinking he had to get to the 8. And it's a bit of a gift here for Bedhead and Wink at Me to nip one back, get to back within 1. Oh, what a crucial break this is. A breaking run here would get Wink and Me and Bedhead right back in it. And a ball has gone in. A 7's gone in as well. But that 9 ball has come to the rescue for Potman and Hazard, because if that 9 ball had stayed away there, that 1 ball was going down the rail. The nice angle to get out onto the 2. Is Bedhead going to have a bang at this 1-9? No. Crazy shot that would have been. I'll have another wee drink. Oh, that's unlucky. Could have done with a better nudge on that 8 there. It's an easy kick for Hazard, but it's always the same problem as you just need to get lucky. All you can do is just hit it and hope. Well, everything's wide open. A good angle in the 2 for Wink at Me to come around the right hand side. The worst thing that can happen here is locking himself off in the 4. Well, he's used the 4 to hold the cue ball. And believe me, the pressure is on these guys because they know what's expected of them. Table's wide open. You know, every day of the week they would run this out without any problem at all. And I think he's a bit straight in the 4. I think that's maybe the problem here. Yep. This just puts you in a bit of a dilemma. So it now leaves a long 5. And he's close to the rail. So you're going to have to play this one good. This is not a gimme. He's played it well. So now we are most certainly back all square. And what would the story be so far if Hazard had knocked in that 7 ball? Well, we'll never know. So Bedhead breaks off in rack number 11 and a ball has gone in. They've got a shot in the 1, an easy 2, a 3 to follow in the middle. Now when they roll that 3 into the middle, the only problem here is the 4 doesn't go. That 4 is far too tight to be comfortable. It might go in off that jaw, but I mean you've got to be staring at it like this. That's far too tight to do anything there. My eyes must be really bad because that doesn't look as if it goes to me. A squeeze it goes in off the far jaw, but you've got to be staring right down the barrel of it to actually get a shot. So, and of course, if you get a good angle on the 3, I think he's dead straight. Well, that's the worst outcome. He's stone straight on this. He could maybe try and pinch a slight angle, but not much. Very, very little. And he's trying just to drop behind it for the 4 into the middle. Has it got the legs? No, it hasn't. Well, Potman and his ad should be on their toes here. Well, the 8 ball has gone in. That's a bit of a bonus. But have they got lucky in the 4? No, they haven't. 5's blocking the 4. It's a thin cut into that top right. But all he can do is hit the top of the cue ball, so... What do you do? Try and get it safe, or do you go all out for the cut? Because now we're down to the business end of the rack. Anybody could win it. Oh, he's played a great shot in the 4. How far's that 5 coming out? It's coming out not bad, but it's the wrong angle in the 5. So he's going to have to do some work with this cue ball here to get his partner onto that 7. So it's the long 7. And up into the table. Oh, that's going too far left. Well, the cut is still on, but it could have been a hell of a lot easier than this. But this to take the lead. And in it goes, and the cue ball's okay. So, well, Potman and his ad are going to have to win the last 2. But that 7 ball might come back to haunt them. Well, they've got a little bonus. The break is dry. They've got an easy 1 ball to start. They've got a 2 either into the middle or down into the corner, but the only problem here is that the 3 balls out of the equation is doing nothing from this side. And he's dead straight in the 2, so he can only go forward. He could kill the cue ball where the 2 is and leave his partner a possible safety. Well, he's gone the other side to try and drop on the 3. That's well played, that, to be able to hold it. And I don't think Potman could ask for any better than that. Let's have a look. What's he got? Well, the simplest one is to find this big area here to leave his partner in the 4. And he's finished the short end of it. Still got a shot in the 4, but again it's into a semi-blind pocket. Oh dear, what we got here. Well, that's nigh on impossible. What do? Do you push it to the side rail? Do you skim off it and try and hide the cue ball somewhere? Let's have a look. How close? It's even too close to do that, believe it or not. To be able to play that 5 in a certain area to hide the cue ball, it's difficult. You might end up just having a slash at this 5 and have a bang and a prey. Well, there wasn't really many options available there, and well, Bedhead's got a shot in the 5, but once again he's going to have to do an awful lot with the cue ball to get it down onto that 6. Oh, that's pacey. That's pacey. And the 9 ball has come to the rescue for Hazard and Potman. So this match is maybe going to take another swing and a turn. What's he doing here? They're lining up the jump, or the Massey trying to catch the edge. Very difficult shot to judge. Well, if you play the 6 ball with a bit of left inside English, you've got to come off the rail and you've got to be here for a shot in the 7. You've got to just go all out for it. Well, he hasn't got the English on it, and that's why it's straightened up. He needed to be able to confidently play that with the inside to get the cue ball to come this way. It's left Potman a tough one. He's gone for the bank, and in it goes. And we are going all the way again. 6 racks all. Hazard and Potman breaking off. The 9 ball goes in the break. It gets respotted. The 1 ball has gone in. And they've got a shot in the 2. Well, this match has the potential to be all over if Potman and Hazard could just keep their wits about them and control their pace. Now, once again, with this 2 ball, there's a big area to get the cue ball into in the left-hand side of the table here to have a shot in the 3. But it looks like the bank's going to be the option here. I think Potman's lining up the bank. And that's in all the way. And the cue ball has finished on the left-hand side. That's perfect. If only the fact that he's slightly the wrong angle in the 3. Now, Hazard can either roll it in and leave the distance pot for Potman. But now he's just trying to do too much. He should have just taken his medicine there and left Potman the long pot in the 4. This is a very thin cut. Cue ball's going all over the place. But again, if the cue ball travels, there's a huge area to get the cue ball into. Well, he's played the pace right down to try and hold for the 5, and that's a well played shot by Potman. Angle's good on the 5 to get the cue ball over on the left hand side. Let's have a look. Oh aye, there's a good angle there. He just needs to come back a wee bit. Well, he's playing with top and left here. This is going to go around the angles and come this way. Well, no, he's not. He's not played it with enough pace. He's trying to finish on the short side. So, well, they're still in business. Sometimes the players have got a stranger way of doing things from the way I see it. And with the angle here, the cue ball's coming down here. Now, does he go all out to pot the 6 and get the cue ball around the corner and out to make it a comfortable 7? Cue ball's got the pace, it's running out, so this time Hazard, somebody remind him quick, he just needs to roll the 7 in for the match. And in it goes, and Hazard and Potman, well, that proves that the handicap works, because there's been a couple of cock-ups here in this match by Bedhead and Wink at Me, and essentially that's what's cost them the match. From an odds-on run-out that they fluffed, and Potman and Hazard have taken their chances when they've eventually got them and won the match 7-6. So the favourites are now over to the one-loss side. There's been a lot been happening while these matches have been on, so we'll see where we are now. We've got Potman and Hazard against Romario and Z Karaoke to see who gets a hot seat. And on the one loss side, we've got Wink at Me and Bedhead, who are going to have a similar, if not I would think a similar handicap against Witt and Dubrovnik. So they're going to have their work cut out in that match as well. Now, what have they got? Yep, it's 6 and out for Witt and Dubrovnik, so that is tough. Yep, 6, 7 and 8 is a tough handicap. So, well, that remains to be seen. We're going to watch the hot seat match between Popman, Hazard, Romario and Z Carioca, and I think Popman and Hazard will still be getting a handicap here. There won't be much in it. It might be the 8 ball or something like that. Well, there's no way I'm going to predict what's going to happen in this match because you know, you've got all sorts of mixtures of players here. Romario still recovering from his one loss side demolition that he received in the World Straight Pool Championship match against Franco. Romario got pummeled 100 points to 6 in that match. And for Romario, it all went wrong right from the start. He played the worst lag that I've seen in the whole tournament. And from there it went downhill. And I said at the time that it was never a good sign when Romario's lagging as bad as that for the match, and sure enough it turned out that way. So here we go. We've got the lag for the break. And whoever that was in the right, they've won the lag, and it's Popman and Hazard. And it's a scratch match. Race to 7, no handicap. Little nudge in the 6 would help here. That'll do nicely. Well, that's dead straight now, so well, there's enough there to squeeze a slight angle with spin. Well, straight away we've now got a crucial shot here. Getting across close enough to this left-hand rail to make Hazard's shot in the 5 a bit more comfortable. Because that 5's right on the rail. 6 ball hanging over the bottom corner pocket, so that's not an issue. Popman prefers to play the draw. I'd have went forward because again there's a huge area to get the cue ball into, but it's left it high. But that 5 is sneaking away from the pocket, and that was asking far too much of his partner there. And we'll keep an eye on the bracket and see how Winketme and Bedhead are doing in their one loss side match. Now this is a little stun up the table or a spin up, but he's decided to leave it into the middle. And perhaps that was a better idea, because he's finished dead straight. So Romario and Z Karaoke are going to be first off the mark. And that's a rack that Potman and Azad have let escape. They should have won it. Huge area to get the cue ball decent on that 5 and just left it far too tough. And the 8 ball in on the break. A shot in the 1. And, well, the shot is there. The shot is there, off there, round there, over there, and down there for the 2. And that isn't the shot. I mean, it's leaving Romario a cut. But, you know, the cue ball's running into things, you don't know where everything's going. I mean, you're playing and you're not in control of that cue ball because you're not getting the cue ball to where you really want it. And they've got lucky. There was a good angle there to run that cue ball around off 3 rails. And Potman unlucky there. So somehow Z Karaoke and Romario have got a chance to pinch a 2-0 lead. Well, this looks easy. I can't see where the problem's going to be. The usual rules apply here. Anything but dead straight on a 7. And that will do nice. Gentle cut on the 7. The cue ball does the rest. Well, he's hit it with enough pace to get it back into the table. That's all that matters. So, Hazard and Potman, well, they're going to have to work again. But this time they're going to have to do it without the help of a handicap. One ball in. And I think, well, that 8 ball has just helped him. Nudged the 9 out the way. Now is Romario going down the right side? No, back over the left. Because the reason I was saying that is if you go down the right hand side to try and get on that 3, you're really narrowing down the margin that you can get a good shot on it. So he did the right shot. And this could be 3-0 in the blink of an eye. But the mistake has been made, and well, I'm not going to put pressure on these guys, but I'll simply say they have to run out here. They can't cock this up. A kill shot in the 6. Potman's running through that. That doesn't help the situation because he's now again leaving Hazard a lot of work to do because the cue ball's the wrong side of the 7. It's going to have to run down the table and he's going to have to judge the pace and stay over the left hand side to give him his partner a shot in that 8. And the angle on this means the cue ball's running up the table away from the 9. So Potman's got to judge this well. And he's done okay. Got the pace right. And they did what they had to do. They simply had to run out. So it's back to within one. And Hazard is going to be breaking. Potman has turned the break over to his partner. And the break is dry. And the 3 ball and the 8 ball are locked up in the middle. Let's have a look. Well, we can see the 3 ball goes, but it does go if you're from this side, but it's going nowhere else. And that angle on the 2 is exactly what Z Karaoke can use to get over behind the 3, over by the 9 ball. If he nudges the 9, that would help, and that's worked out very nice. That was well played. Exactly what was called for. Now can he brush through off the 8 and get on the 4? No, hit it too thick, but he's okay. I think the angle was running more into the 8 than maybe I thought. But it's still a shot. A wee bit of helping inside English here, just to stop the cue ball wanting to run towards us. Just check it up. Well, that needs to keep running. It's another one of these wee testers. But this to go back into a 2-rack lead. And in it goes. Well, that's a good little run out. And the 2 ball is going into the top left. But no shot in the 1. We can play the jump over the 7. Or just play the push out. Now the question is where do you push? Somewhere up the top side would be an option, because they would then leave their opponents a choice of a 1-3 combo if they wanted to risk it, or they could put them back in. Let's see what they do. So Potman can play a shot or give it back if he doesn't like the look of the shot. And he's played the combo, and that has turned out very nice. Risky shot, but well, they're trailing 3-1. It's the only way you're going to get back into it, if you take your chances and take that wee bit of risk. That needs to just slow up a bit here. I think we've overcooked it. And once again, Hazard's pace control is just overstepping the mark slightly. And I don't think Potman can squeeze behind that 5. It's just going to be the kick and the hope. Oh, he's caught the edge of it. That's, you'll be happy with that. That's turned out very nice. Excellent. And I don't think the angle's there to kick it. The 5's in the way. Is he going to try and jump over it to get the edge of the 4? Yes. And he's managed to get it. But Hazard and Potman will have a shot. But look at this. I think this is dead straight. No, he's got an angle. Got an angle. As long as there's an angle there, you can at least do something with the cue ball. But he didn't hit that with enough pace this time, so he's underhit it. And Potman, well, easy kick from there. Going that way, it's an easy kick. He's trying to jack it up. He's got the jump stick out. Needs to make sure he keeps the cue ball on the table here, because it's a bit close to be playing a jump shot. When I mean that, the distance overall between the cue ball and the 5 isn't very far. So to play a jump shot at this distance, unless he plays it softly, this cue ball could bounce off the table. Well, it's hit the rail and it's stayed on and it's gone safe, and that's all you want. That'll do it. They can see an edge of it, but they've got no other shot other than the safety. And these are the toughest shots to get right, because whenever you get distance and you've got a ball, the object ball is on the rail, it's very difficult to judge the contact right, so as you don't disturb that 5 ball too much. And if he'd missed that 9, that would have ended up a good shot. But Z Karaoke has a shot in the 5. And that's running too far. There's going to be another awkward cut here for Romario. But he does have the angle to get the cue ball out for the 7. And that's well played. Where's the cue ball finishing up? Is this going to be easy enough to get a shot? Let's have a look from behind. Oh yeah, he can get it the 7, no problem. Now, how good is he going to be at getting his partner good on this 8? Well, it's the other side of the 8. Hit the wrong bloody button there. Needs to watch the cue ball. He's thrown it onto the rail. And this has to go in. Can't be making mistakes on these. Got to get it in. It's either 3-2 or 4-1. And in it goes. And that was an important one. It keeps Hazard and Potman in touch. But no luck on the break. There's a possible 1-6 combo here. It's needing to be made. Had a go at it. One thought being into the other pocket. But it's a chance for Potman and Hazard. That needs to go a bit higher up. It's a wee bit short. The reason I'm saying that is also because Hazard needs to think about getting the cue ball in the top half of the table here. So he's going to have to work it a wee bit. And needs a wee bit of luck. I think they've got... Well, they've got the shot. And no doubt the angle's there to get the cue ball over for the 6. But everything's from a distance here. It still needs a bit of concentration to... Again, this is where Popman should just be worrying about the 5. If he hits the right pace, the cue ball's going to do the right thing and go over for the 6. And that's well played. He's judged the pace well. A nice little simple 6 down the rail and a little roll through. And I think the cue ball's far enough off the rail just for Popman to kill the cue ball and at least leave a decent angle on this 8. He didn't want to risk running across the table here. Things can go disastrously wrong. So the angle's there and plenty of room. Get it a little bit of top and right English and get the cue ball around and into the table. That's the shot. Don't be trying to play anything cute here. Get the pace in it, get the cue ball moving and get it over for a shot in the 9. And that's the right shot. It needs to slow up though. It needs to slow. That's okay. So this to go all square. And that was, again, another important one. Having to work under pressure. Keep yourself in the match. And I've got it back all square. 4 ball thought of being in. But it's dry break city again. And Z Karaoke has got no real shot in the 1. And well, that's going to have to be a jump shot over the 7 to try and get to the end rail to try and kick that 1 and 4 in. I can't see any other shot unless he plays the Massey. Is he going for the jump at this distance? Very risky. Yeah, well, it all went wrong. I think it'd have been easier to jump over the 7 and bank it and kick it from that far end rail. It was a much bigger target to get to, doing it that way. Can Romario and Z Karaoke respond? Well, there's a bit of traffic here going to be in the way here for Z Karaoke. Is you have to find the gap between the 7 and the 6. Sorry, the 8 and the 6. And that's another shot well played. Finds the gap. Gives it Romario the angle on the 5. Has to just watch the pace. And that's okay. Same for Z Karaoke. Just has to control the pace to leave it nice on the 7. And the slight angle, as long as Romario doesn't roll into the 9 here, he's managed to avoid it. So here's the important one. Good angle on the 8. Run that cue ball up the table and anywhere on the right hand side of the table beyond this half, the middle pocket. Oh, he's fluffed up the 8. And, well, there's a shot here and it has to simply go forward and down the short side unless he does. I don't think he can risk putting anything in the cue ball other than hitting it straight and running down the short side here. Missed the knuckle. Oh dear. Well, that was unlucky. Well, good luck whatever you try here, because this is tough. It's so tough to try and get this safe. He could roll down onto the face of the 9 and just play a negative safety. But he's trying to cut it, and he's got the cut. That's unlucky. So it's going to be 4-3 to Romario and Z Karaoke. I don't think there was many other options there for Potman. A tough cut. So it's Romario breaking in rack number 8. 4 ball into the left middle. Well, there is a shot in the 1, and the angle's there to run the cue ball up the table and try and get somewhere over on the right hand side up at that far end. And that looks nice. If that comes round the corner and misses the 2, well, that's unlucky, because if it had missed the 2, it was on for the 2 into this corner here. That was a wee bit of bad running there. Now, what's happening? Well, what's happening is Hazard and Potman have got a chance to square it up again. Well, we've seen 2 matches so far in this tournament, and both of them have gone all the way, and I think this one's heading the same direction. For the moment, it looks like it, provided that Potman and Hazard can take this out. Getting from the 7 ball to the 8 isn't going to be a problem. 8 ball hanging over the top left. It looks all too simple. Just a gentle roll down off the 5. Don't do anything stupid. And a nice little angle off the 6 with a bit of help in English. A little feather of English here is all you need. Just sort of stun it onto the rail. Is he playing a draw here? No. No, he's alright. So this should be back all square. That's just too heavy. I mean, you need to take £2 of weight out the end of his cue stick. I mean, it's dead straight, so he shouldn't miss it. So it's 4 racks all. We're into rack number 9. Potman breaking off. He's scratched straight away. And these balls are sitting perfect, so it's it's like a yo-yo here, backward and forward and backward and forward, and Z Karaoke and Romario have now been given a gift of a chance to run out. All the balls sitting wide open. Where's the problem? That needs to keep running. He's looking to get it in the middle. It's just a bit short. Cue ball's running away from the 5. Now this needs a nice kiss. And that's okay. It's into a blind pocket, but it's a little gentle pot. And I don't think the gentle part of the equation come into that. There's a bank here for Z Karaoke. And he's played it well. Get the cue ball around the corner, out onto the 7. So the crucial one is getting a good angle on the 8. Well, that could have been better, because the angle here for Z Karaoke is heading that cue ball towards this bottom left hand corner pocket. He's avoided that and he's played it well. Nice pace. and I think the 9 is off the rail, and that's easy for Romario. So back into the lead. Swings and roundabouts. Oh, 6 ball. Very close to dropping into the middle, but it hasn't gone. And even more, the pressure's ramping up here. Hazard and Potman trailing by 1. And once again, the balls are wide open. Where's this cue ball going? Oh, yeah. Well, that's actually changed. That's actually changed their chances of running out here. You know, it's got to be this side, obviously, to nudge the 6 in. But that 7 ball's just come into the... It's just come into play there, getting in the way of the 6. It should be okay, as long as they get good on the bottom side of this 5. Because that's going to be the crunch shot to get onto the 6. Well, there's the result come through from the 1 loss side. In fact, I forgot to even keep an eye on the match. I forgot about that as well. Wink at Me and Bedhead have come through against Witt and Dubrovnik by 5 racks to 2. Hazard, again, lots of juice on it, but he's still managed to hold for his partner on the 4. So this is a crunch one. Can Potman avoid that 9 ball for a start? And can he get the bottom side of this 5? Yeah, he's tried to run it around. He got on the bottom side of the 5. But this could be maybe a 2 rack lead at a crucial time. And Romario's managed to get the bottom side, so Z Carioca can drop it dead weight into the middle. The cue ball's got to be on the 6 because it's going to run through. And that will do. So the only way this is going to go wrong is the connection between the cue ball and that 7 ball when he pots the 6, because they haven't a clue where it's going to end up here. And he's tried to be cute, and has it worked out? Well, that's worked out pretty good. Just needs a wee bit more angle and needs a wee bit of torque to get out there. And this still isn't cut and dried by no means. It's going to need a good shot from Romario. He needs to avoid the scratch to the left middle, because this cue ball is heading that direction, and he's avoided that, and he's avoided the 9, and it's plumb. So it's going to be on the hill for Romario and Z Carioca. And Hazard and Potman have got nothing else to play with here. 5 ball goes in, 7 ball goes in, 8 ball goes in, and a shot in the 1. And look at the 2-9. Oh, that is plumb. That's going in every day of the week. Z Carioca just trying to find the gap, which he has done. And this match is done. There's no way that's not going in. That's going in off the jaw every day of the week. And so, Romario and Z Carioca have ran out in the end against who the hell they played? Potman and Hazard by 7 racks to 4. So they're now in the hot seat. We'll have a look at the bracket, and we'll see that once this bracket updates, Romario and Z Carioca can go and get a cup of tea or whatever they want. They're going to have a little wait while we have Wink at Me and Bedhead having a rematch against Potman and Azad, but this time it's a race to 5. It'll probably be the same handicap. I don't think that will have changed. And we'll go in and get ready for that. Well, the tournament started at 7 o'clock, and we are now, what, 2 hours and 20 minutes into it. It's 20 past 9. Well, I don't know how Wink and Me and Bedhead played in their first loser side match, but they're going to have to certainly up their game from what we saw in the first match against Potman and Azad. So the lag has taken place, and Potman has won the lag, and the handicap is still 7 and out for Potman and Azad, and that's a good handicap. It definitely is, because really these guys, Wink at Me and Bedhead, have, you know, when the balls are open, they've got to run out. One ball has gone. I think there's a thin cut there in the 2. The 3 ball has locked up behind the 8. Now, is it worthwhile going for the pot in the 2 then? Why not just play the safety? Cut that 2 onto the left side rail, send it in towards the 6 and the 4, and get the cue ball down the bottom of the table here. That would be the plan I would have. There's no point in... Now, what the hell happened here? That is weird. I've just watched the break again. Has everybody seen this? I've just watched the break again, and now I've watched as I'd play a shot in the 2. Am I out of sync here? I think I'm going to have to... leave the room and come back in, because that was weird. That was very strange. Well, the balls aren't in any different position. The 3's still next to the 8. Yeah, you see that? That was totally weird. I was watching a shot in a 2 ball, and then the next thing you know, it's a restart of the match, or a restart of the rack. That was great. I've never seen that before. Ah, you hit the replay. My head was doing funny turns there. And I never even noticed it said replay at the top of the screen. I was too busy focusing on the balls. I'm thinking, what the hell's going on? I thought it was out of sync. Oh, my head's out of sync now with that one. But anyway, Wink at Me with a jump shot to get out of the snooker. I think the 3's a good bank as well. And that's going in all the way, I think. Yeah. And I don't think that 4's a bank. I don't think you can play the bank the 4 without hitting the 6 to try and make the potting angle. It might be there. It's very difficult to judge. Oh, well, that's a good shot. Picked out the combo, but unlucky with the position. Listen, I've deserved these 2 weeks. I'm totally knackered. That's because I'm contracted to work on a Monday, which means that I work every bank holiday that there is. So I get paid time and a half for the bank holiday, plus I get a day owed So that's all my days owed and my outstanding days all put together to give me this fortnight after the new year. Comes in very handy. And that's going to hit the knuckle. No. And it goes. Well, it's dead easy, this. The angle's there on a 5. And all you're doing is getting the cue ball off the rail and out to there. Now don't spend too much time looking at it. You play the shot, you stun it onto the rail and get it out. Big area to get on the 7. And remember, they only need the 7. So Hazard and Potman, a gilt edge opportunity to take the lead. And in it goes. And of course, remember, it's only a race to 5 on the one lost side. And somebody has decided to disconnect, and that's Wink at Me. Maybe nipped out for a quick refreshment and then jumped back in. So Hazard has broken off in rack number 2, and like most of the racks tonight, many of them have come up dry, and this one is no different. Well, my advice to Wink at Me would be a clean install of EP4 and see if that fixes it. And that cue ball, I just travelled that inch too far. Still a pot on for the 2 ball, but Wink at Me's got the task of trying to control that cue ball to give Bedhead a shot in the 3, and there's a narrow margin, a narrow window to get on that 3 ball, and I don't know whether he can avoid traffic here if he's going to try and run around the table. Well, he was never going to hold it playing it at that pace. The bank's been played and they're back in prime position. Now this is where I always say there's a problem when you're playing this shot and getting onto the 5, but if you end up going down here, well, he's fell well short of that and got onto that 5 no problem, but the danger shot is always overhitting it and ending up low in the 5. Well, the crucial one, getting from that 7 to the 8, it sounds and looks all too simple, but it's amazing how things go wrong. Now, does he go forward or does he come back? Looks as if he's coming back. And that will do nicely. Now, does Wink at Me want to play this with a bit of right-hand English? A bit of top and right. Yeah, and that will do. That's perfect. So it's going to be 1-1, a quick response from Bedhead and Wink at Me, but that's what's expected of them. That's what we expect them to be doing. When the balls are lying open, these guys have got to run out. Now, the break is dry and Potman has got a shot in the 2. And look at the 3. Now the problem with the 3 is, I think it's much easier to try and get that cue ball out to play the billiard off the 3 onto the 9. I mean, the 3 cuts, but it's so difficult to get good in the 3 to be able to cut that 3. Can he get on the 2 first of all? Yes, he has. Well, that's not changed the situation. Hazard can pot the 2. He can try and, I think he's too straight, but he can maybe squeeze a wee bit. He could try running into them, or he could avoid them and try and leave a billiard for Potman from the 3 onto the 9. We'll see what happens. He's took the first option and trying to disturb things, and well, nothing happens here other than the safety. As thin as you can. Well, that was maybe not the best of shots. I think he hit that far too thick. Now, is there enough of that 3 ball there for Bedhead to actually get to cut it? I think he can. Maybe not. The more I look at it, let's have a look. Can he hug that to the rail? Yes, he can. Get the nudge in the 4. It's a thin one for Wink at Me. But again, just relying, well, he's decided he's not risking it and playing the safety. That's a wise move. The easy snooker behind the 7. And he took that option. And Hazard looking to get the kick and get lucky again. I don't like that angle. No, that angle was always going in the left hand side of the 4. So it's ball in hand for Bedhead. Well, this is where it can go wrong again. He can come off the right rail, off to the end rail, and round behind the 7 on the left-hand side with a shot. Needs to slow down a bit. It's got a bit more juice on it. Yeah. It's now more difficult for Wink at Me. So we're in the business end. We're down to all the money balls for Hazard and Potman. But in goes the 7. But this cue ball's travelling far too fast. And Bedhead is going to have to pull one out here on this 8 ball. It's like the Steve Davis black ball from 1985 in the World Snooker Championship final frame decider with Dennis Taylor. This 8 ball. If any are old enough to remember it, or even know what I'm talking about. But Bedhead has played that well. No signs of pressure there. And a straight in 9 ball for his partner. So we're into rack number 4 in the race to 5. Bedhead's broken off, the 5 ball has gone in, the 9 ball has been, is that the cue ball been nudged in? Cue ball's been nudged in. And look at where the 8 ball is, over that corner pocket. Ball in hand to Potman. He can get right behind the 1 and he can push the 8 in for a quick equaliser. Well, that's the worst possible outcome from a scratch and a break. But that cue ball wasn't going anywhere until it was nudged in. And that's got us back on parity. It's amazing how these matches can swing and turn. Especially when that sort of bit of bad luck happens. And an easy win in rack number 4 for Potman and Azad. 5 ball drops in. 3 ball thought about joining it. No real shot in the 1, but can Hazard draw off the 1 into that 3 and just nudge it in? I mean, the 1 ball's running all over the place if he does that, but at least he's got a ball in a pocket. No, he's looking to play it safe. Well, if that cue ball was tight in the 2, it would have been a good shot. As it is, Wink at Me can catch the edge of it and billiard the 8. That's what he's looking to do. An edge of the 1 and a billiard onto the 8. No, he's playing the jump, but I think he's still trying to play the same shot, mind you. Yep, in goes the 8. And Bedhead has a shot in the 1 and the 2 squeezes past the 6. We can see there's plenty of room for that. And 3 ball hanging in the middle pocket. Now the one good thing here, or the one option that might be available to Bedhead and Wink at Me, is if they can get good on this 3 ball to actually run the 3 ball in and run the cue ball onto the 9 and get that 9 away off the rail. He might even try it now. Let's have a look. Well, he can punch the 3 in and try and nudge that cue ball down onto the 9. He should still have a shot in the 4. I think there's enough angle there to stun the 3 in and try and nudge onto the 9, but they're not bothering. Well, let's see if they've done the right thing here. He might try it off the 4. No. Well, they're quite happy to leave the 9 where it is. Let's see if it's the right choice. They've had a couple of opportunities to nudge into it, just to get it off the rail. Let's have a look. Well, this is dead straight, and the problem with it being dead straight is the cue ball's either going forward, which is up to there, or it's going backwards. So it's coming backwards. Well, I don't know if that's a shot I would have played, but there's a thin cut on for Bedhead. But I'll tell you what, if they don't get this 9 in, they need to think about the opportunities they've had to actually just nudge that 9 away from the rail. And you couldn't be in any worse position than this in this shot to win a rack. It needs a perfect connection just to hug the rail. Well, he's gone for the bank, and the bank's not gone in. And it's a steal for Potman, really against the run of play there. But I'll hark back to what I said during the rack. When you've got the chance to get that 9-ball free, it's worth taking the risk, because there's no way they couldn't have still been on the next ball. And what the fuck happened there? I mean, what the hell happened there? I mean, that is unbelievable how you can mess up a shot with a 9-ball hanging over the pocket and make a complete arse of it. Well, why did he scratch? I mean, I was too busy ranting on about that 9-ball in that last rack. I thought it's a gimme. Why did he do so much with the cue ball to actually scratch the bloody thing? That is so stupid and dumb. He should be slapping his head against the nearest brick wall, having played that shot. I mean, there is no forgiveness in that. That is what you class as a numpty shot. I'm going to have to watch that in the video. And as soon as I do watch it, I'm going to copy and paste the link so that Potman sees it forevermore. That is not a bad error. That is numptiness. There is no forgiveness. He should be ashamed and embarrassed. And if he was in my team, I'd be ripping his head off. That is so poor. I mean, odds on certainty, no one would have bet against it that they were going to be 3-2 up. Well, I don't know what the hell Wink at Me had in plan there, but it's turned out perfect. He's tried to pot the 2 into the left middle, made an arse of that, banked it into the right middle, and finished perfect on the 3. Oh, there's strange things happening here, I'll tell you. Oh, I don't think it's in his Nikes. I think his head's full of air to have played that shot. Honest to God. And I think that might weigh heavily on their minds when Bedhead and Wink at Me run out this rack. I mean, what do you do when you've got a straight 9-ball hanging over a pocket? You put a bit of bottom and drag on it and you just punch it in to kill the cue ball. What the hell he was doing with the cue ball, I'll never know, because I didn't see it. I'll only ever see it on the replay. But my goodness me. If ever you're going to cut your own throat, that's the way to do it. I mean, the first thing that goes through your head when you see a ball hanging over the pocket is, the first thing my voice in my head says, don't do something numpty-ish. Don't do something stupid. Take everything out of the equation and play the straightforward shot, kill the cue ball, and Bedhead has totally messed up the 9. Well, we're getting numptiness from both sides here. We're getting numptiness from Potman, who occasionally will do that, and now we'll get Bedhead totally hacking up a 9-ball, and all of a sudden we're 3-all again. So where's the problem? Oh, God. Well, I don't know what the hell's going to happen in the rest of this match, but I mean, you know, it's anybody's guess. We're at 3 racks all. It should have been 4-2. Oh, dear. We've got the 6 and 7 tied up. Or is it? That 6 goes. That goes with a wee bit of cheating in the pocket, I think. But it's very, very tight. In fact, it might be too tight to actually be a decent shot. but it's a good safety shot. If you can't get good on it, then you can certainly kill the cue ball and lock the cue ball in behind the 7. Well, that's a good reverse bank there for Wink at Me. He's going to go for that, no doubt about it. And if he stuns the cue ball, he might even nudge the 6 and the 7, but if he's thinking more of getting good on the 4, well, he's trying to play the reverse bank. He's going to get the second prize. Now, will we give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he played the safety or he played the bank? I think where the cue ball is, he's lying perfect in the 4. I think he went for the pot. So pot man, can he redeem himself and play a jump shot and pot this 3 ball? Not the 4. For goodness sake, don't pot the 4. Well, he's got the jump. That 3 ball needs to keep running. Well, I think Hazard is going to be coming to the table, maybe in a spot of trouble in a second or two. Well, there's no real shot on here for Bedhead, but he's certainly got the option or the opportunity for a half decent safety. And he's trying to marry it up to the 4 or the 5. And he's not got it tight enough. That 5 ball can still be jumped by Hazard. Again, the danger with this shot is playing it too pacey and bouncing the cue ball off the table. Well, now he's got the hit in the 3. And the 3's close enough to the 6 that I don't think Wink at Me can squirt the 3 past the 6. Can he? I think he can use it. He can use the 7 ball and just hold it. No, he's managed to do it. An easy kick though. But once again, no clue as to where everything's going to finish here. Oh, the 3's gone in. And if that cue ball had run a wee bit higher, Hazard would have had a shot. Now, let's have a look. What's he got? Well, he's got an easy safety here. He's gone all out for the bank. It would have been much better if he had played the safety. He could have tucked that 4 ball round behind the 7 and 6 and got the cue ball down here out the way. So I think he was throwing all his eggs into one basket there, going all out. And it's a chance for Bedhead and Wink at Me. 6 ball is still slightly awkward though, where it's sitting. Now, well, the cue ball's going to have to run a fair bit to make sure the potting angle's there on the 6. And he's got there. Now, can he go forward and come out, or can he go forward with inside and come down and out that way? I don't know. It looks as if he's going the left-hand side. Well, that was a strange shot. That really was strange, because that's neither here nor there. This is not easy. Again, it's into a blind pocket, and the cue ball's running over to the right-hand side with this potting angle. Well, he's digging down to avoid the scratch. And in goes the 7. Looks fairly simple enough. But Bedhead has overcut the 8. And it's another gift of a chance here. Well, it is a gift, but goodness me, it's Potman in the table. God help us all. Surely can nudge it off the jaw. Yes. Well, he's done the sensible thing there and actually got the ball in the pocket and took the pace off the cue ball. So it's Hazard and Potman who go to the hill in this race to 5. And the break again is dry. Or is it dry? No, the 4 ball went in. 4 ball's gone. Oh dear. Well, if he'd run that harder, if he'd got that cue ball to there, that's crying out to get the cue ball to there for the combo in the 9. Oh, might they live to regret that. Because it puts all the onus on him now in running these balls to the 7. And Potman has got the challenge of getting that 3 ball in the pocket and getting the cue ball down here on the left hand side to give Hazard a shot in the 5. And that's far too strong. Now don't tell me you can actually get to cut the 5 past the 7. I think you can. The shot is on, but that's certainly not what it was intended. And that needs to keep running and get out and out further. Even though it's down the table, it still gives Potman a shot in the 6. Now he might, I don't know whether he can pot this and avoid the 7. Might just have to ride her luck here. It's difficult to judge whether he can avoid the 7. If he's making is he playing the bank or is he going for the pot? He's playing the bank. Well, in it goes. Well, there's a cut to be made, but it's this 7 ball for the match. And in it goes. And Hazard and Potman have taken care of Wink at Me and Bedhead. And they've taken care of them twice in the tournament. And they are now through to the final. As far as I remember. Are they? Let's have a look. Yes, they are. Well, Bedhead missing that 8 ball. There was too many errors from the favourites, and that's what's cost them dearly in the end. So the final is between Romario and Z Carioca and Potman and Hazard in a race to 7. And we'll jump in. 3 players are already in. Yeah, that's right. It was Potman. It was Romario and Z Carioca sent Potman and Hazard over to the 1 loss side. So, of course, the handicap for Hazard and Potman isn't going to be as helping to them. And they're going to have to work a lot harder to get a result in this final against Romario and Z Carioca. Right, with that, I think I'm going to take a little bathroom break. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. The match will probably start by the time I get back. Oh, well, he should have made me a cup of hot chocolate as well while he was at it. So we're well underway in the first rack in tonight's final of Monday night 9-ball Scotch doubles. Z Carioca and Romario looking to run out. And the mistake has been made, but it's gone fairly safe, bar for the opportunity of a bank or a very wild thin cut shot in the 5, but the bank looks a much easier option, and that's not going to get there. So Hazard and Potman's glimmer of a chance has gone. Is there anybody still out there? Who's all gone to bed and who's got bored? Well, if there anybody is still watching, a quick reminder that Franco and Acero are going to be playing tomorrow night, GMT at 7:30 in the one-loss side final of the Virtual Pool 4 World Straight Pool Championship. Now the two of them are playing in a race to 100. Acero from Japan, and it's going to be to see who plays semi-pro in the final, and if it turns out that Franco gets to the final, it's going to be a rematch and a chance of revenge for Franco, having lost in the 8-ball bar table World Championship that we had earlier last year. And the final, in fact, what is the final? Final a race to 150? I can't remember. Is it a race to 200, the final? I never even looked. But anyway, that's still to be settled, and it'll be settled tomorrow night at 7:30 GMT, 2:30 Eastern Time, and that'll be 11:30 Pacific Time. Race to 200. And I'll be here for that match tomorrow night. And hopefully some of you guys can join us if you want. And if not, then the match will be archived on YouTube. They archive them for like 14 days or something on Twitch, and then they ditch them. So the match will be there, and I'll add it to the collection on the playlist for the Straight Pool Tournament on my YouTube channel. So if you miss it, you'll always have the chance to see it. Well, see Carioca going for the kick, and he almost got it. He couldn't pot it in the top left-hand corner because he'd have scratched. Well, it's now turning out this will be a good one for Hazard and Potman to pinch here. And that looks a simple enough 9-ball. Little gentle cut. Don't let the cue ball run. But it's 1-all. Now, wait a minute here. Let's have a look at the bracket. Did I miss that the first time round? Yeah, I never realised. I never realised that the first match was a scratch match as well. It just dawned on me there looking at the HUD at the top of the screen. It's a scratch match, no handicap. I'd forgotten all about that. Right, well, we can see where the problem lies here. The 6 and 9 are locked up here. 6 ball isn't going to go anywhere. And that's a scratch by Hazard. And ball in hand for Romario and Z Carioca. So a 2 ball is reasonably tight past the 4. I mean, if you can get the top side of it, you can get it on into the middle. And Romario would like to play that shot again. Now we could see the 2 did go past, but the problem with that shot there is Z Carioca's not looking at the potting angle, he's looking across the table, so it makes it so much more difficult to judge the pot. There's a poor one from Romario. Well, that takes care of the problem at the top end of the table. And Potman, well, he has landed Romario in a whole heap of trouble. Five ball goes in. Cue ball has gone in. It's ball in hand for Hazard and Potman. Now, where's the problem here? Well, the problem is the 4 ball again. It does go, but it's extremely tight. And it only goes if you get behind it. Now, he could give himself an angle in the 2 to try and nudge something. Or at least try and get right down to about the 6. Well, he's left it short. And this is the same problem that Z Carioca had. If you look at it, the 4 is very tight. But if you were playing it from here, you're hitting it in off the jaw, no problem. You can get a bus pass there, but not from here. From here it's difficult. Yeah, that was the same problem. Exactly the same problem Z Carioca had. And in both occasions the players cut the ball into the problem ball. And that ball, that cue ball, if it had travelled another 6 inches, would have been perfect. So Z Carioca and Romario have their chance again. Although this is not easy. And it's not easy because you're doing something with the cue ball. You're imparting spin on it, and you're sending the 6 ball offline. It's in these pockets they'll hang up. We know it time and time again. They will as soon as you hit the jaws with any sort of pace. And now the 9 ball's acting as a blocker for the 7. It's just a bit of a hindrance that way. And he's done his best to get behind the 7. And I think that Potman shouldn't have any problem in just killing the cue ball or drawing it back an inch or 2 to give his partner a decent shot in the 8. But you don't have to force it, but he's way off the mark there with that. Well, I'd be going for the kick bank here because that 9 and 7 are set. Oh, I just got it in the wrong side, but it's gone safe. Well, safe-ish. The bank's on. Well, this is anybody's rack. And even if he gets the bank, he's got to be worried about the cue ball to get on the 8. Well, Romario will be going for the cut because the cue ball has to go up the top end of the table after he plays it. And it needs to slow down. There's too much juice on it. Well, in it goes. And it's a bank every day of the week. It's either the single bank or the double bank. Well, he's gone for the cut. The danger was always a scratch. He's managed to avoid that, and it's 2-1. Now, what went down there? The 7 and the 8. Oh, the 1 and the 8. And a shot in the 2. Oh, 3 ball goes. I think the brain's shutting down now. My body clock is telling me it's past my bedtime. I think I'll live through it though. Well, it looks like Romario and Z Carioca are going to give themselves a little cushion here. And Potman and Hazard now have their work cut out. Trailing 3-1. Oh, yeah. Well, simple enough push shot. Push out, I mean. Little nudge in the 2 and kill the cue ball would have been handy. Well, it's killed it in behind the 5, but there's a big enough gap there to make the jump easy. Now, can Z Carioca hit this 1 ball with enough pace that it will bank up onto the 8? That's what he's tried. Well, we've got a right mess here. This could take a bit of shifting here, the way these balls are lying. 2 ball next to the 9, not going anywhere. Wrong angle on the 2 and the 1, and then of course the pocket's blocked for the 1 as well. So a bit of tactical manoeuvring going on here. Now there's an easy safety here for Romario. He's going to tuck that 1 along the rail and get this cue ball down into the long grass here at the bottom of the table. Well, he's left it short. And I think he's not managed to hide it either. Well, there's a gap just to roll through onto the 1, but there's not much else you can do. And that's a clever shot. Gets the double kiss off the 1. And gets that wee bit of distance. And so what the hell dropped here? The 1 ball. 2. What dropped? I missed what dropped here. 2 balls gone. Now the 4 and 5's locked up. Well, Does the one ball sneak past? No, it doesn't. So again, we're going to have a bit of manoeuvring going on here. What's the angle like in this? Well, you can put a fair bit of right-hand English on this one. I think it was okay. I think he had a good enough angle. But what they're going to do with this 4-ball, that's the point. That's going to scratch. No, just nudged a knuckle. Well, that'll do it. That's worked out very handy. 5-ball, giving a full ball snooker, easy kick. But the same old problem with the kick shot is a kick and hope. But Z Karaoke getting no luck. And a wide open table now for this visit here for Potman and Azad. They need to take their time. The only problem ball is the 7, which sitting in that middle diamond is a good bank shot if it comes to it. Well, that's ended up nothing, and they've blown their chances straight away here. And it might be the lifeline for them, that 7-ball. That remains to be seen. No, that's not bad. I'd be happy with that shot. It's going safe. But there is a safety behind that 6. Well, I think Romario, I presume he tried to avoid the 6 and go behind it, the other side, the top side as we look. But he's ran into it. Nothing easy though. I think as soon as this thing's... Where's the 9-ball going? 9-ball's heading right for the pocket. In it goes. And it's back to 1. And something else has gone in. Have they got a shot in the 1? Yes, they do. 2 balls more or less over this bottom corner. Oh, this is going dead straight. He's going to have to squeeze a bit off the rail here, maybe. Or either that or just leave it long. Well, he's leaving it long. And he's leaving a lot of pressure on Potman here. And this cue ball, if he just pots it plain ball, the worst that can happen is the cue ball will run into the 9 and catch the edge of the 9. There'll still be a shot in the 6. So you don't have to do... You might even avoid that altogether. You just need to pot the 4. Yeah. Now the 7 goes into the right middle past the 8. So he can go forward. But he's... Again, these guys are just falling short of where they should be. They're leaving themselves more to do than they really could be doing if they're just prepared to play the right shot. This is at distance and this can just run to a jaw. And he sent it not even to the jaw, to the back rail. And this is simply because they're chickening out on playing the right shot. And you have to be brave enough to get that cue ball through off this bottom rail here as we looked and get it up the table rather than leaving your partner long shots. Well, that's gone out of shape. They might have a lifeline yet. And Romario's overcut it. And how's his luck? Well, it's pretty good. But Hazard has to play the bank and give it every opportunity to go in. And he's played that well, but the cue ball's running. And Potman again with all the pressure. And it's not a good bank from there, so he's got to go for the cut. He has to play the cut shot. That is not a good bank from that angle. And he's played it well. Where's the cue ball? Cue ball's fine. So we're now back all square. So we're into rack number 7. Potman has been given a break by his partner. And the 4 ball was thinking of going in till it run into the 8. Something went in though, did it? No, another dry break. See Karaoke having a slash at it to try and pot something, but nothing's gone. And we're now 3 hours and 20 minutes into the tourney. And we'll certainly be past the 3.5 hour mark before this is finished. Oh, that needed to skim past the 6. If it skimmed past it, it would have been fine. And now it's a jump shot again. And that's, well, at least it's a shot. It's a shot for his partner. He's going to brush into the 5. Now, if he gets this right and doesn't get the 5 too hard, he could leave his partner a shot across the table into the left middle. We'll see if that works out. Well, he's had a slam at it. Well, where's the 4 ball going? Well, he's got lucky the 4's gone in, but his partner's got no shot. And it's another jump escape here, I think. Oh, the kiss off the 6. Almost helped the 5 into the pocket. But it's hanging over the pocket. And this is tough for a Mario to get good on the 6. Yeah. And he's done probably the right thing in just leaving it there. It's a cut across the table. And Z Karaoke's hit it too hard to the jaw. But he's got away with it. The Potman's got a cut. He needs to watch the scratch in the left middle again here. And he's played it well. That was a good shot. And now Hazard, all you do is pot the 7. You don't do anything with the cue ball because the cue ball does the rest for you. It's all about pace. You've got the angle. You pot the 7 and let the cue ball come out. Now, there's a bit more angle in this 8 for comfort. If you play it with right hand English confidently enough, the cue ball will check and come straight, and that was well done. That was a good shot. And Hazard with a straight in 9 ball that surely he can't miss, but it's for the lead. So rack number 8. Hazard breaking off. Something sounds as if it's dropped. I don't know what. And it's the 8 ball that's gone. Now, is there a billiard onto the 9 here for Potman, or the thin cut in the 1? What's he thinking about? The billiard onto the 9 looks very inviting to me. I'd be having a go at it. Well, I think he went for the cut. Well, I don't think that 3 ball goes past the 4. That looks too tight. Yeah, that's dead where it's sitting there. And well, Z Karaoke has missed the 2. Hazard has kicked the 2. And at least he's finished the right side of the 3 to give his partner a sight on it. But not a lot he can do with it. I don't know whether Romario can push this 3 ball away and avoid hitting anything here and try and keep the cue ball there. Well, he's just trying to use the 4. Again, it's an easy kick on the 3. But, you know, if he'd got that cue ball tight on the other side of the 4, it would have taken that out of the equation. But it was an easy kick. But again, it's just a kick and hope. Z Karaoke has missed another one. Now this time, well, we can see there's a clear path for the 4 ball past the 9. There's no problem there. And the only, well, there's not really an issue. If there is an issue, it's a 6 ball in the rail there, but it's off the rail. It's just about having a shot on it. Now he's not locked behind the 7. Oh, he's okay. Now, what's the simplest thing to do here? Drop the 4 in and get behind the 5. Well, that's actually worked out better because the angle that he's got with that nudging the 9 gives you the cut into the middle, and the cue ball has to come across for the 6. Anything but straight on this 6 ball. And he's got a slight angle, not a lot. And, well, do you take your medicine and leave your partner a bank? Because it's very difficult to muster anything out of this cue ball, even with that angle. Well, he's gone for the big draw. Went into the big area, and Hazard has given Potman a shot and an angle. And now the worst outcome here is running up into that top left-hand corner pocket. Is he drawing back or is he going forward? Because if he draws back, he's drawn over to the right-hand side of the table with the angle that's on the pot. He's got to go forward and around the corner. Well, he hasn't got enough into it, has he? Has he got there? I think he's almost got there. And Hazard watch the pace on the pot, because this cue ball, you don't want to be running about. And he's got away with it. But more importantly, there's now a 2-rack window for Potman and Azad. Now 5-3 in front. And the 3 ball has gone down. No shot in the 1. Or no real inviting shot. There is a cut into the top left. And there is an angle there to get up for the 2, believe it or not. But it's all out for the 1 ball into that top left hand corner. If you're brave enough. I think my voice is going to hold out to the end of the match. Oh, that's a great shot. Nice kiss on the 2. Well, that's excellent. That's worked out perfect. I mean, you've got to be brave enough to have a go at them. I mean, you're 5-3 up. That should give you even more confidence. Now, can he gently roll this 2 in and still hold for the 4? The answer is yes, he can. And there's even a perfect little angle just to go forward. Pot the 4 and go forward, and you'll have a shot in the 5. But if you go forward with enough pace, you'll get that cue ball closer to the 5. Well, he's playing it soft. Now, the angle's good to come off there, go that way and come out. The danger is this 7 ball where he's played it really gentle and held the right side of the 6, which was clever thinking. There's always a danger to be running around the corner there with that shot. Well, this is a vital visit here. Can they take it out and really ram home the advantage? Well, that's not a comfortable cut. It's a gentle little cut, and in it goes. That's well played. Well, Potman is staring straight down the barrel here on this 9 ball. And in it goes. And now Romario and C Carioca are back to the wall. Last chance saloon. All the cliches you want to use. And look at the 9 ball. The ball has gone in. And a straight shot on the 1. And this is not easy. It's just got to catch the edge of the 9. But this for the match. It's a big pocket if you run the 1 to the side. And in goes the 9. It's all over. And Potman and Azad have beaten Romario and Z Carioca by 7 racks to 3. Let's have a quick look. Well, we'll have a look and see that the winners have got 400 $, and the runners up have got 200, and there was no other money in the tournament apart from that. So in the end, they got revenge and comfortably won the final by 7 racks to 3. So, well, good luck tomorrow night, Dizzle. I'll be there. And hopefully you other guys, if you're still watching, can join us tomorrow at 7:30 GMT for Acero versus Franco in the race to 100 on the 1 loss side. And as I say, that's to see who's going to play semi-pro in the final of this year's VP4 World Straight Pool Championships. So until then, I will bid you good night. I'm off for a cup of coffee. and I will see you tomorrow. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for your company, and we will see you later, folks. Good night.